Welcome to our 40-year-old mobile home. Well, when we bought this property, this was the only existing structure, and we really had some thoughts about, is it worth saving? It's 40 years old and kind of falling apart, but we decided, well, let's take a shot at it and not make a landfill and see what we can do. So in the future, this will be paper-created over the exterior for insulation, and it'll actually look almost round like an adobe.
Basically, to throw one of these mobile homes away, it costs about $4,000 to have it towed and dumped in some sort of, I don't even know how they break it down to put it in there. We've taken out all the locks on our structures here and just used digital locks. I have an RFID tag implanted in my hand. And for the home, I put in an RFID reader, which can read RFID tags. I turn on the reader, and it'll scan my tag, and the door unlocks. So I don't need keys to the house. I don't even need to punch in the code. I just bring my hand.
We basically looked for a sustainable material to replace a very horrible brown carpeted room. So we ripped up the carpet and we used bamboo, which we put in ourselves. We rehung all the sheetrock. This was brown panel. We made a square window round, like little things that we felt like we can handle. You really can't tell any longer that it's a mobile home. And it's just clean and new and didn't cost a whole lot, and we didn't use materials that we felt uncertain about.
We believe that there's a real surplus of materials, right? The wood is everywhere and we just have to find it kind of thing. And it took a while for just finding the building materials because we didn't want to keep going to the hardware store and buying materials. We hadn't done it yet. We didn't want to get into that game.
All the wood trim in here was found wood, donated wood, mostly like old decks, which we replaned and just put to use.
People started giving us wood from their basements. People started giving us wood from porches they'd ripped apart, and we were even taking wood. We had a soil stack. If you know what a soil stack is, it's basically where the poop gases come out of your house. We had a railroad tie holding it up, and our contractor kept looking at that railroad tie. He's like, "Oh, that is some great wood." And I'm like, "It's holding up the poop stack. We can't use that wood." And he was adamant, and we have a whole room that's done with the poop stack railroad tie, and it's awesome. I mean, it's really good looking wood. He was right. So a lot of the wood we're using is almost 50 to 70 years old. It had already been cut down and harvested at that point. So it's probably from 200-year-old trees, and wood like that just doesn't grow anymore. People harvest wood at 40 years, and it doesn't have the coloring, it doesn't have the density. It's just not as nice. So it's really amazing colors that we get out of it.
We also kept a lot. Like this is 40-year-old mobile home built-in stock furniture from 1967, and it was good enough.
Things were built better 40 years ago, and any off-gassing probably happened sometime earlier. Whenever you lay down a new carpet or a new wood floor even, there's off-gassing, and that is a scent that comes out. It's PVCs usually being emitted, POVs. It's pretty nasty environmental stuff that you don't want to breathe too much of. Once you let materials sit long enough, they have off-gassed, and the scents are gone and are greatly diminished. We collected a lot of salt cedar, which is a wood that grows here that's considered a pest. It's not indigenous to the area. It drinks up all the water from the Rio Grande here, and the state burns it. You'll drive down the highway and see them burning giant piles of this stuff because it just drinks up the water. So my mom had found this piece while we were out harvesting salt cedar for our papercrete, and we just cleaned it up, and it's a really beautiful piece, and it sort of looks like it's doing something, although it's not.
And we use salt cedar elsewhere too. Like if you look through here, the curtains and the curtain rods are salt cedar and the curtains are hemp. Like we just tried to really be as resourceful as we could and not go to the store and buy new materials.
You redid this for about like 10 grand, is that?
In materials, well, yeah, about $10,000.
Yeah, $10,000, 3 months, one laborer who was pretty much full time.
And 10 grand plus what it was valued at by the insurance company, which was $1,000. So technically this is an $11,000 house.
If we were to build with standard materials in a builder, it would have been at least $80 to $120 a square foot. And that's just new, ugly Home Depot look. That probably would have cost us, $100 a square foot, $1,000 to $100 grand.
Yeah.
This is why the prefab world doesn't really make sense either. If you pay $200 a square foot, you got a $200,000 home that was prefab. You can build anything you want for less than that in any part of the country.
There's a real beauty in knowing what you're working on can't be worth less. So no matter what mistake you made, it's fine. Like it's not going to be less valuable. And I think it's a great way for people to just get their hands dirty, is take something that doesn't matter and work on it and see what happens. I mean, we did some goofy stuff too. Like we tiled the bathroom. We've never tiled anything before. And some of it's pretty ridiculous.
It shows.
Well, this was our little mosaic floor, which we just decided let's give it a shot. And you know, if you really get close up, it's like there's plenty of mistakes in this. We're pretty bad at cutting tile. I haven't even put the sink in yet. It's just kind of sitting here. But, you know, who cares? This was, if you should have seen it before, you know? And we did it ourselves, and every day we look at it and we're like, look, I did that, yay. We get a ton of support from, like, the older communities who've been here for multiple generations as well as the new. You know, it's food, shelter, clothing kind of thing. You know, everybody can relate. This is about living, and it's about, you know, doing something yourself.
They'd given up hope on our generation. They're like, you guys just watch TV and eat high fructose stuff, and you know, there's no hope for your generation. And I feel like we've really churned around a few people's opinions about, you know, the 30-something crowd. The bamboo has been contagious. We went to a small home in town, saw the bamboo, immediately copied it for ourselves. Other people have come here, and it's been going into trailers as opposed to just throwing away the trailer. People have been remodeling them. And I think people are starting to realize what a viable building structure it can be. It doesn't need to be a trailer. You can seal it from the outside, redo it from the inside, give it more insulation, build it better than a McMansion or whatever homes people are making today.
It's square footage, just space. You know, we watched some of our friends and neighbors who also recently bought places, and most of the places in this town need some renovation. And they're not in that relationship with their builder where they're participating and doing the work. And because of this gap of understanding, they're kind of like hands are tied and they can't progress, and the thing keeps getting stuck in the mud, and they can't make good decisions because they're so distant from the process. Someone else is doing everything. So I've really witnessed their frustrations and how often they get stuck and the work can't proceed, and looked at what we're doing, and I feel so much freer because we're obtaining knowledge, you know, we're involved.
Yeah, we hope this place will sustain us, you know, that this, you know, will be our primary income in anything else we choose to do, because running a hotel is relatively low maintenance, especially when there's, you know, middle of the week, no one's coming. So we're hoping that we can generate enough revenue that we can really work on what we want to work on, and not just physical labor every day, which is fun, but that's going to get old too, you know, and go on to whatever our topics of interest are.